Well, if he wasn't locked into the chase before, Eric Jones certainly is now with 2 victories in the Xfinity Series. 1, you might still get edged out if there's a bunch of different winners, but with 2, you're certainly going there. Joining us now in the studio live, another guy who had a good run in that, another rookie who had a good run in that. Top 10 finish for Brennan Poole. He drives the DC Solar Camaro at Chip Ganassi Racing. Brennan, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks. My first time here. It was fun watching you guys there for a little bit, the first 10 minutes of the show. So yeah,
and he's an adequate pilot, by the way.
That's what I heard.
Just
well, now after hearing all these things, I'm like, man, you do a lot of things. I mean,
he's a Renaissance man.
Jeez,
yeah,
got fingers in everything. 2016 presented a new challenge, similar team, but essentially a new crew chief. You've only got 27 total races. You got the big yellow stripe on your bumper. We're 10 races in. How has the season gone so far?
I think it's gone really well. It kind of took us a little bit to get going the first few races. Just like it is, getting familiar with everybody on our team. But it seems like the last 3 weeks or so, we've just really been clicking, and Chad and I have been getting along great. A new engineer this year, Clint. So everything's been really fun for us, and we've had some races where we just couldn't quite close them out, where we ran really well, and we just couldn't get to the end. And it seems like the last 3 weeks we've been able to close really well. So had a shot at Richmond to maybe get $100,000 and win the race. It didn't quite work out. Talladega, we were right there, and get another top 10 3 in a row at Dover. So I feel like we're really on a roll and got some momentum.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that Talladega thing. You got a lot of attention for that because a lot of folks thought for a while that you won it. They had to go back and review, and the rule was applied appropriately. You can argue about whether that should be a rule or not that way, but, man, I just thought you did such a good job in how you handled things afterwards, and you had to be experiencing way up here and then way down there all in the same 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was quite an awesome 5 minutes until the waiting on the front stretch part. But, yeah, it was just really cool to be in a position to win my first race. And I felt like for us to be in that position 2 weeks in a row is just shows how hard our team's working. And we've been getting better each week, and we've been able to kind of put ourselves in those positions, which as a driver is really all you can ask for is, to have a car and to have a crew chief make the calls to be able to put you in a position to win the race. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of up to me to get the job done. So, I'm happy that we were able to do that. But, man, it was an awesome feeling for 5 minutes, I got to tell you. And it was cool, too. My parents were there. All my sponsors were there. So for 5 minutes, everybody was freaking out. Like, they were, like, knocking people over in the grandstands to try to get down to victory lane. So it was cool. But, our time is coming. I'm proud of our guys. We're working hard, and I believe we're going to get there.
Yeah, you put yourself in really good positions. You're going to end up coming out on the good end of things. That's just the way it works. So now you show up at the Monster Mile. It's a completely different track that we've run all year. It's a mile-long, high-bank concrete, which is an unusual surface. Talk about the challenges and what you experienced for you and Chad Norris in practice with a green track, rubbering up, raining, a lot of different situations going on just in practice.
Yeah, practice was tough, and I really wasn't sure where our DC Solar Camaro was at. I think Chad and I both were maybe losing some sleep on Friday night because we decided to make a bunch of changes going into the race weekend, which actually paid off. We qualified good and we ran good in the race, but the track was really green. It had been raining there. It had been raining up there for 3 weeks straight or something. Mm-hmm. So no rubber on the track, and you had to just be in the groove. I think we saw a couple of guys like the 6 and the 43 get out of that groove on the bottom and lose their cars. And so it just made it a challenge, and the track went through so much changes. Even during practice, it was like, man, one practice to the next, it was entirely different. And then we had some rain in the second practice, which was kind of throwing some teams some loops. So you really had to be on it on making your decisions to dial your car in, and I think you saw some guys struggle in the heat races because of it, and we were one of those teams. We were just way too loose and kind of lost some spots and ended up starting a little bit farther back than we wanted to. But that's just the challenges of a concrete track and dealing with weather. The track, you're laying all this rubber down, then you go out on the track or under a caution, and you pick all the rubber back up, and the track's different for the start of the run. So it just presents a whole new type of challenges that you don't really see at an asphalt track.
You mentioned earlier the heat. So what do you think about that now that you've been able to do it 3 times? Because I've seen some fans say it's really cool to get a break. Other people say, well, man, they're not really racing for anything like you would in a true heat race other than to make yourself eligible for the big paycheck. How do you feel about the way those have gone so far?
Well, at Richmond, I really like liked it because I was on the upside of it, you know. But at Bristol and Dover, I was on the downside of it a little bit. It makes it tough. I kind of look at it as just a way to maybe improve my starting position and figure out what my car is doing because we have that break to make adjustments to make it better for the start of the main. So I didn't really pay attention to the Dash for Cash really that much. It's more of a okay, I'm going to try to move up a couple of spots if I can. I'll start better in the race, and I'll be able to make some changes to my race car to make it better for that main. So that's how I approach the heats. Some guys may approach it differently, I'm sure, but I'm using it for that because at the end of the day, winning the race is what's going to get me locked into that chase, and that's what's going to put me in a position to win a championship. So the heats, I'm just trying to get through them and dial my car in and get a good starting position and then try to go win the race.
Yeah, one of the things, an unusual circumstance about the heat race is that the actual main race is a little bit shorter. So a lot of teams do use that heat race, even though they realize they might not be able to win, to work on your car to prevent that the shorter race from being a problem. But you have a limited number of stops with that shorter race. What transitions did the track in the actual race go through that you had to deal with?
Yeah, it was tough. The first run to me felt like it went on really long. And the track in the beginning, we had kind of picked all the rubber up. And so at the start of the run, when there's no rubber on the track, at the concrete tracks, or Dover in particular, you are really tight because there's no rubber on the track. And everyone's kind of tight and pushing around. And you're trying to get all you can on that start because at Dover, it being such a fast, high bank mile track, dirty air is an issue, and I think we saw it in the trucks, Xfinity, and even in the Cup race this weekend. It presents new challenges. It's just really tough to pass. And then as you run and you lay that rubber down, the cars start getting free on that rubber, and you saw some guys moving around the track trying to get out of it. So they're work the grayer part of the racetrack to make the cars drive better. And so at the end of a run, I think you saw some guys going backwards. Who cars worked really good when there's no rubber on the track, and then cars who were tight in the beginning who are now kind of getting neutral or driving back towards the front. So for me, I was tight at the start. My car got neutral at the end of the run, and I passed a few people right before that first caution. And then now when that caution did come out, there's only 40 laps to go. So now you're thinking, okay, I got to get my car quick better for these short runs. What are we going to do here? So Chad made some good calls. We were a little bit better, not quite where we needed to be. But man, those last couple restarts were insane.
Weren't
we
they?
were all over the place. I was, trying to get all I could get, and we got up to 7th at one point, and Suarez and I were battling hard, and we both lost some spots at the end, but wound up still coming home 10th. So it was a good race for our DC Solar Camaro.
On the tracks that have multiple grooves and they widen out, are you a bottom feeder or do you enjoy going up top?
I always feel like if you can get your car to work on the bottom, that's the shortest distance. Yep. So I try to get my car working on the bottom as best I can. But some of these mile and a half with these Xfinity cars are so momentum driven that you got to find a way sometimes towards the end of the run to use that top lane to your advantage. So it's been a little tough for me. The Xfinity car is a little bit different than some of the other cars. I grew up and came through the ranks racing. It's taken me some time to, figure it out. But it's been going in the right direction, so we'll keep working at it.
Man, it sure has. One of the reasons we wanted to bring you on to talk today is about an Xfinity takeover you guys are going to do, you and several of your competitors up in Philadelphia. You got a full agenda going on up there. Tell folks what they can see if they are joining you in Philly tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff. Going up to Xfinity's headquarters, and we're going to Pat's and Gino's. It's one of my favorite spots.
Now, which one are you?
I'm a Pat's guy.
Okay.
My girlfriend actually, Lindsay, she's from New Jersey. She lives about 20 minutes from there, and so one of our first times hanging out, she took me to get a cheesesteak in Philly, and I've tried both of them, and I lean towards the Pat side. She leans towards the Gino side, so we're kind of butting heads a little bit on that, but. So I'm excited about that, and we're going out to a Phillies game. We're going to sign some autographs and do some cool stuff for some fans out there. So it's going to be an awesome
think you're
weekend.
going to do pit stops in the streets at some point too.
Yeah, we're going to do some cool stuff. So I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to just going to Philly and going up there to spend some time with all the Xfinity folks. They do so much stuff for our sport and our series, and they've got so much new cool technology coming out. The X1 app's really neat. It's just awesome. I love it. So
have you messed with the virtual reality goggles?
I
that
have
they
not
got?
Messed with it.
I got to see those at Atlanta. They're fantastic.
I'm gonna have to get on that and try some stuff. I'm really into all that tech stuff, so it's gonna be a good time. And we're up there promoting the Pocono race coming up. I'm a big fan of Pocono. I've had some success there in my ARCA days, so I'm looking forward to that. Pocono is such a cool racetrack. It's different. It's tough. Has its own challenges. They always have a great crowd there, so I'm excited to go there for Xfinity's first race there.
We got 10 races into the 2016 season. This week is occupied by going to Philadelphia, but now you have a weekend off before we go back to our home track. I'm not sure exactly where Charlotte is home to everybody, but it's our home track from the racing series. What do you do in the off time for that one weekend? How do you catch your breath?
Yeah,
he's going to do yoga.
I'm doing
He's
yoga.
doing yoga.
I'm doing yoga today with our pit crew guys in a few hours. But I spend a lot of time in the gym. I work out with my guys. My buddy Metcalf, who's on my pit crew, I'll be doing that. But I'm going to go to the All-Star race, hang out with my team, and spend some time with them. But I don't know, man. Maybe I'll play some golf or do something. I'm throwing out the pitch tonight at the Knights game.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Have
really
you
good.
been to the stadium before? It's really cool.
I have.
Yeah.
This will be like my third or fourth time, so I'm excited about it.
If you're going to the
Fantastic.
All-Star race, come to the spotter stand with us. That's a great view. A lot of the drivers see a different perspective, and you sometimes don't have the opportunity to get up there, but try to get up in Charlotte. It's really cool.
I actually spotted for John West Townley there in an Xfinity
There you go.
practice and stuff like that. So Charlotte's a great place. I'm excited about it. I tested there a couple weeks ago,
Yep.
so I'm looking forward to racing there in a couple weeks.
Fantastic. Hey, before we let you go, tell folks about DC Solar. What is it?
So DC Solar is a mobile solar energy company. So all their stuff is mobile generators. They're actually doing a lot of stuff at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So if you're out this weekend, you're going to see about 110 of their generators powering the track. Everything's completely green. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. Light towers, car charging stations, just doing all kinds of neat stuff. Actually starting to get into colleges now and have these mobile charging stations all around the campus that students can use. So they're doing a lot of cool stuff.
All right, there you go. That's Brennan Poole. He drives the DC Solar Camaro for Chip Ganassi Racing, a rookie in the series, and he's 8th in the standings right now as they've got a weekend off coming up before racing next weekend out at Charlotte Motor Speedway.